Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's awfully, fantastically, amazingly fantastic episode, we're going to be doing quite a few things today. I'm not going to talk a lot right now. Our time is of the essence. So all I can say is that we're going to be replacing this cam box today. We're also going to be putting on a new head gasket, and there's a number of things that's involved in doing all of that. New cam belt, possibly a new water pump. Not quite sure if we'll get to everything in today's video. I might have to make a part 2 and 3, but that's what we're going to do today. So let's get started. Yeah, so guys, unfortunately I had quite a bit of issues with my audio. Some of my files, entire video file got corrupted. So I'm going to have to voice over quite a bit of the video. But that's okay. We you know, it's fine. You can see exactly what we're doing at this stage in the video. We're just busy taking off everything. As you can see, I'm taking off the airbox. Now we're going to be removing that cover. Always remove those covers very carefully. Just be gentle with them when you take them off, because they are very expensive to replace. This is the dismantling stage of the job that I'm doing today. There's quite a number of parts that need to come off. As you can see, I'm taking off the serpentine belt, which you'll see in my previous videos. It's not difficult to do. It's quite easy to do, but you just need a good spanner, like a 15 spanner you will need, preferably one that's a bit bent. And that will make it much easier for you to remove that belt. Yeah, this belt of mine was really done. I got the new one, and we're going to be replacing that one as well. Next up is the mountings. We're taking off the mountings. We've got to loosen them. When you loosen those mountings, or at least before you loosen the mountings, please make sure that you've got something to lift the engine a bit. And the best way to do it is take a jack and put a piece of wood on top of that jack. And now we're just going to continue with the loosening of the bolts with my trusty breaker bar. Something that's definitely necessary when you're loosening these bolts on this vehicle. Those covers at the bottom behind that mounting is always difficult to get to, but yeah, you can do it. You can get to it, because we need to get that serpentine tensioner off, which we're doing right now. Also quite an easy part to take off. Okay guys, we are busy removing the bolt from the crank, so we can get that crank pulley off. Yeah, it's quite a hectic job, and you need a special tool, or you have to make your own special tool. I've got one of these. They hold the pulleys in place. Yeah, and there off comes the crankshaft pulley, or balancer as is known. From this point onwards, things come off relatively easy. Once again, those covers, make sure that those covers are kept safe, and take them off. They can be a little finicky to take off, but just be gentle with them. Yeah, off comes the camshaft pulley. Quite the easy one to take off. Yeah, he warrants a bit of inspection, but once it's off, it's off. And then of course you've got your 2 screws behind the camshaft pulley. I'm just giving it a bit of a clean down there now, so I'm going to take off the tensioners now. Okay, so as you can see, there's not really anything wrong with this tensioner, except his age. Okay guys, this is the new tensioner. And this is the old one. We're just going to compare them to make sure that they're the same. Yeah, in width they're the same. The back of them, yep, pretty much the same. Just turn him a bit. Yeah, it's exactly the same, just a different make. And this one, the beauty of the new one is he comes with a bolt. It's got an Allen key bolt. Some of them have a Torx, but this is Allen key bolt, and he's a brand new bolt that comes with it. And if you look at the front, the way I had it on the old one, there was no this was actually the wrong bolt that was in here. We actually need to have this dome type of a bolt, because you don't want him sticking up this high. But it worked, it did its purpose, so I'm not complaining about that. But now let's try and get the right thing in there. So at this point in the video, I've decided just to stop and just spend a few minutes on the actual tensioner itself. I think I get a lot of questions about actual tensioners, where to buy them, what's the differences, what's the right tensioner for the vehicle, how do they work, etc. So I'm just going to briefly speak about them. I'm not going to go into much detail, but I just want to highlight the different tensioners that you get. And by no means am I trying to highlight any of these manufacturers in front of you. There's a number of different manufacturers who produces tensioners. They all got different varying degrees of manufacture quality. They look the same, but they're not exactly the same. But I'm going to go over the main differences between them, and it's going to be very, very brief. If you've got any questions, guys, please post in the comments and ask the questions, and I'll get them answered. So in formulating, the information about the tensioners, I've had to call out to a friend, to phone a friend basically, and just to find out a bit more about the various tensioners and how they work and what can be used, what can't be used. So I've called upon the TikTok phenomenon, Mr. Opelman, and Opelman, he's given me quite a number of ideas, and he's also explained to me exactly how certain things work with regards to the tensioners, and also where I can get them. I find that it's very helpful, and he's always willing to help, and it's good to have somebody with that you can use as a sounding board when you're doing this. It will help you save a lot of time with any hassles. So guys, look him up. He's Opelman. You will see his picture here on the video. I'm going to insert it here. You can just have a look at his YouTube page, and he's on TikTok as well. So let's have a look at the different tensioners that you get. So you get the standard tensioner over here. And by the way, all of them take I think it's a 6mm bolt, and standard 6mm bolt. But the only difference it's got to do with the actual head of the bolt. Now this one is just a normal 6mm bolt that you can get at any hardware or any shop. It's not the best bolt to use. It does work, but it's not the best bolt to use. The proper bolt, which I don't have with me unfortunately now, it's got like a domed head. It's not like this. It's actually rounded like a 180. It's like a dome shape. But for demonstration purposes, that's where your bolt's going to go in once you install it on your engine. And it comes out the other side, and it's a pretty standard, standard fit for all of the tensioners actually. So this is your standard tensioner, and he's the one when you go to the spare shops, they're going to give you that one first. Now, this one, I'm just going to explain briefly how it works. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but he works in conjunction with your water pump. Now, all of you know the water pump. You've seen the videos on my channel, and the water pump, when you install it, you'll notice it's off center. It's not it's concentric, so you got to actually turn it a certain way, and it'll obviously adjust your timing belt in a certain way. But at the same time, that adjustment actually works on the tensioner as well. So once you turn you'll see there's no way of adjusting this. There's no adjustment on this actual tensioner over here. There's nothing that you can adjust on the front of it. So you've got to turn, you actually turn, or what they call clock your water pump in such a manner that it actually tightens the tensioner. And when you move the water pump, you'll see that this little arrow here, that arrow will actually move. This arrow will actually move to the point where it needs to be. You actually have to use the actual water pump itself to actually adjust the tension on the timing belt. So that's the brief explanation of how the standard tensioner works. Now we're going to come to the next two tensioners. Now this next one, this tensioner is actually from the Chev 1.4 utility. Now it does work on the Corsa because the engines are basically the same. That setup of the timing setup is basically the same. But this is the one that you'll find, and it has the improvement that it has. It's got a adjustment tab. Now that adjustment tab, you're going to adjust with an Allen key once you're on the engine. So you don't need to use the water pump anymore to adjust it. You can just put your water pump in the correct position though, which is something separate. We will talk about that again. But then at least you have the option of adjusting it with the Allen key. And you'll see how that works. You'll see how that works. On one or two of my videos, you'll see I've adjusted it with the Allen key. I'll put the link up in the description here, and as well as on the video of how this actually works. So that's how this actual tensioner works. I like this one because much easier to work with, much easier to adjust when you're laying at the bottom there. As you can see, it's very crammed at the bottom in the video, and this one makes it much easier to adjust. So this one is from, as I said, from a Chef 1.4, but it works on there as well. And then what we have is we've got this, which was also recommended to me by Opelman, which is the 1.8 gamma timing belt tensioner. So overall, these are the three tensioners that you get. I personally prefer to use this one. I've had this one on, I had that one on, I even had the 1.8 on. I drove this one for about 6 months. I drove with this one for maybe more than a year, and I drove with this one for maybe like 3 years or something at one point, that I can say, which is not the right thing to do. You should change this tensioner out every year. My personal preference is the one in the middle. So that's the basic things about the tensioners. I mean, there's a lot of technical detail we can go into, but I'm not going to do that for this video. I just want to make you understand that the differences in the different tensioners that you get. So if you go to the spare shop, you might find that there's a discrepancy, or they might give you this one, or you might want to ask for that one. I would personally ask for this one because I know I've had it on for a long time and it actually does work. I've used it quite a bit. Okay guys, let's get on with the video now, and let's take it further from here. Okay guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to start loosening up everything on the top here. There's various things that's going to have to come off. I'm not going to say what each one is. You're just going to have to watch and see what I'm doing, and yeah, let's take it from there. Okay guys, important one to loosen up now is the fuel line that comes to the rail. So what you want to do here is these clips at the back, we've got to push them in on one side and push them in. There's a special tool for this, but I don't have it. And then pull back. And the most important thing is, guys, please don't do this unless the vehicle has been standing for a minimum of an hour, because this line is pressurized. So you want to be careful and just protect your face also here and pull it out. That's all we need to do here. And that's your fuel line that's come off now. So let's keep that safe somewhere. Stuck it away over there. And just be very cautious when you're doing that. Like I said, let your vehicle stand for about an hour, and it'll be fine. Yeah, I just want to mention, guys, that as you can see, the actual petrol is coming out of the rail. So something you can just do is take some masking tape or a piece of tape or something and just tape it around there once you've taken the actual fuel line off, and it'll be fine. Is the mass airflow sensor. My one is unfortunately broken, so I can just literally pull him out like that, and that will be it. We don't have to take him out right now, but for now I just wanted to show you how that comes loose. There is obviously a little bolt that holds him in, but you'd have to just loosen that one up. What we're going to do in this case is just to loosen. We're just going to loosen off the sensor plug. Comes, as well as the sensor on here. This is your idle air control valve, and at the bottom, of that sits this is your accelerator control. We're just going to loosen all of that. Injector plug, you press it back like that, and then you're going to pull it up. Try not to use the wires, just pull it on the plug itself like that. Push that down, and out it comes. This one's a little different. I got him from Opelman, and it's a very high quality plug, and that's why I'm struggling with him a bit here. Out he comes, just put him back. Right.
Okay, most of that's loose now. We lifted this one little wire, which is down at the bottom. Okay, so what we see now is our complete electrics are almost all loose. We can just put them to one side. That's all we need to do. Now we've got access to the nuts and bolts that need to come loose, and the hoses that still need to come loose from here. So I had the wrong hose on here. I got the replacement hose, the proper one. So that should solve quite a few problems. There we go. Off he comes. You can see this is not the correct hose. This is definitely not the right one. Okay, next up we're taking off the coil pack. The actual coil, not the coil pack. It's coming off next. We can use a Torx here just to loosen those up. You can just mark your plugs, mark them like this, your plug leads, so that you know, you don't get confused. It's not absolutely necessary, but yeah, you know, just doing it can, maybe if you're doing this for the first time, will help you later on to know what goes where. So at this point, I just want to stop and let you know that the right thing to do right now is just to actually drain out the water from the drain plug from the radiator. As you'll see later on, this is something I didn't do now, and it will actually affect what I'm going to do later on, as you'll see. So just on observation, guys, I'm looking at the cam. Oh, it looks nice and clean inside. Oil looks very good, very clean inside. That's looking very promising, guys. Very promising. Yeah, cam has got a bit of a wear on it, but it looks, to a degree, looks normal. It's got a bit of a wear on it, but it looks normal to me. But other than that, it's looking very clean inside. Very clean. So I'm really very happy about that. I'm glad to see that all the oil changes that I do is actually working. Okay, so let's do the next step. So unfortunately from this point my audio got completely messed up. I don't know what happened, but I lost most of my audio. Right now I'm just loosening up the actual plate that covers the exhaust. It's like a heat sink for the exhaust headers, and that comes off quite easy, as you can see. Very simple. I'm going to spray this manifold bolts and screws and nuts with some penetrating spray. Good thing to keep with you. A very handy tool to have is the penetrating spray. It's going to help you get those stubborn bolts off much quicker. So let's just quickly get through this. The manifold actually came off very easy. Actually too easy. I think some of those nuts were actually a little bit loose, and when I took the gasket off I could see that there wasn't much pressure put on the gasket. So that's something that you could actually check on your own vehicle just to make sure that it's still tight. Yeah, next up we're doing the alternator. Now the alternator's got a few very stubborn bolts. And one, yeah, two bolts. It's very stubborn and very awkward to get loose. But yeah, you can do it. It's just something that you got to get done. And this little pipe, you will find that these pipes are quite tight. On the engine, they've been there a long time. They, with the heat, they become very tight. Now we're at the exciting part of the whole job. This is the exciting part. Not it can be a very positive exciting part or very negative exciting part. As you can see, I'm explaining that there's an order in which you loosen these bolts. And that order is, as you can see, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5. They're all referring to the location of the actual head bolts. Now, it's very important to loosen these bolts in this order because you can actually snap off a bolt if you do it, if you just loosen anyway. So first thing we're going to do is actually just to loosen them. No, don't turn it all the way out, just loosen them. You'll see I'm loosening them very, very, very carefully. Just trying to get them loose because I'll tell you, those bolts, if they snap, yeah, it's your worst nightmare. Okay, it's not really that bad, but at the end of the day, it's going to mean that you're going to have to remove the rest of the bolts, and you're going to have to actually get somebody out to come and remove that broken off bolt, and that can be a real pain. It's going to cost you the time and the money and the effort, and it's just all hassle. So just hope for the best on that. At this point, all the bolts are actually loose. So now we can turn them quite a bit more aggressively loose. Once you've broken the initial tightness of the bolt, you can start turning them maybe, more like 90 degrees. You can start turning them loose. Finally, now we are approaching the point where all of them are loose. As you can see, they're turning loose very easily now. So all the bolts are out now. Now's the time to just take the cam box off. And as you can see, I've just loosened it a little bit with a screwdriver. And then you should wriggle it and it should come off quite easily. The cam box is held in place by silicon. Now, later on, you'll see that I used a gasket there, which I'll advise you not to do. Don't do that. Rather use a silicon. Let me correct that, not silicon. Gasket maker would be the right thing to use, and use a high quality, high heat gasket maker. So the next step now is we're going to remove those lifters and those followers also. They're going to be taken off. And because we're going to reuse them at this stage, I just don't have budget for new cam, new lifters, new followers. I just don't have budget for that. But I would have liked to have done it, and I'm probably going to do it in the next video. But what we do here is we're going to take all those lifters out, all those followers out, and put them one side, but in the order that they come out. So it's very important to do that. Find some way. I'm using a piece of cardboard here, but find maybe even a better way, and put them one side, and then you know exactly what order you took them out in, because it's very important to put them back in the same order, because each follower is going to line up with each cam lobe and each lifter below it. So just make sure that you do that. And of course, the moment of truth is here. We can remove the cylinder head now. Now, the cylinder head is held in by two of those dowels there. They're like pins or dowels. And you see on the top, what I'm pointing now, that's the top ones. There's usually two. And that holds the cam box in. And then below the cylinder head, you'll find the same thing on the engine block. The cylinder head and the manifold just comes off just like that. Just make sure you've got nothing in the way. Everything comes off, and there you go. Once you've removed the cylinder, you can have a quick inspection. Just looking at it quickly, looking very similar. The valves are looking very similar. There's a couple of differences inside the cylinder heads themselves, but I'm not going to go into that now. But you can see, as I'm pointing there, that you check those things that are actually common, and anything that looks different, you look at that later on. But for now, we'll just stop with the inspection here, and we'll just put the cylinder to one side. Alright, the cylinder is off now. Now I'm just put the gasket back in place. And if you look carefully, this is the reason why I said the water should be drained earlier on. I actually totally forgot about it. And the water should have been drained, and I'd highly advise you to do that so that you don't sit with that coolant on top of your pistons there. It's not going to do anything. And afterwards, we have to do an oil change. So we have to make sure that anything that goes through into the oil is actually being removed by doing the oil change. But if your rings are good, you shouldn't have a problem. As you can see there, nothing's going down. It's just actually staying there with these. The head gasket itself, you can inspect to see if there's anything, anywhere, any areas where it's blown. So it's difficult to see what that is. But yeah, I think just have a look at it, and then have a look and see if you can see anything. Okay, just cleaning up that water out of the cylinders there. Yeah, let's get it out. Let's get it all clean. At least my cylinder's got a good clean up at the top. Okay guys, that's going to be the end of part one. This is unfortunately all I can do for today. And in part two, we're going to focus on the cleaning of the cylinder head, the surfaces, and as well as the surfaces of the actual engine block needs to be cleaned. We're also going to be focusing on the lifters and the followers and what to do there, and have a good inspection of the cam. The cam's also going to be put into the new cam box, so look out for that in the next part. Guys, please remember to like, share, subscribe and follow, and I'll see you in the next episode. Reasonably good quality. Oh.